Hello and welcome to a chilly depth of winter day here in beautiful Nova Scotia. Snow on the ground outside, not a lot to be done in the garden, but I don't mind. The garden's got to sleep, got to get its rest and gird its loins ready for the new growing season. Not that far ahead now. We're in February, so I'll soon be planting seeds and raring to go. But it gives me a good chance to do lots of different projects other than, you know, planting and looking after the earth, etc. And one of the things I'm doing at the moment is making flower planters out of pallets. And I put a few photographs on Facebook recently, and I had lots of comments on, you know, how do I make them, what are the size, etc. Can I show people how to do it? So I thought I'd do a video today on how to make a planter out of recycled pallets. And that's one of my big things at the moment, is always actually, I haven't got loads and loads of money to spend on planters and pots, etc., and trying to cut down on the use of plastic. So pallets and recycling, using them as much as possible, is, you know, it's a great way of making planters, and it's actually not that difficult. So let me get myself set up and I'll show you just how I do it. So recycling, pallets, upcycling, whatever you want to call it, it's a great way of getting hold of you know, a cheap, to me actually free source of material to make things in the garden. And as many of you will have seen, this is a planter that I made recently, and as I said, I put it up on Facebook and I had some good comments. You know, it's rustic looking, but I like it. It fits in with my sort of cottage garden feel in my garden, and the way I like to design my garden. So I'm going to be knocking up a few of these, and today I'm going to show you how to make something similar. So many of you would have seen the recent video I did on how to take a pallet apart, and with no special tools other than a hammer and some blocks of wood. I also had some quite funny comments about, you know, it's not going to take every single pallet apart that there is around, you know, some tough old ones, but you know, the way I did it helps me take apart pallets with nails even that big, no problem, and I didn't break any of the pallets at all. So as you can see, my greenhouse is looking a bit more like a woodworking shed than the greenhouse, but there's nothing growing at the moment, so that's okay. So this is all the pallet wood that I got from taking apart some pallets recently. These were good condition pallets, but as you can see from the photograph I'm just putting up, I've got, you know, a variety of different pallets, from the old ones to newish ones, and I'm using them in different formats. You know, the older ones I'm using to make things like this greenhouse, so you don't see them as much, and I'll be making an actual shed, a potting shed out of pallets soon. But these newer ones I've been able to get hold of, excellent wood there. So these are what I'm going to be using to make the planter today. Now I had a whole load of wood, and some of it was a bit bowed, so I can't use that for the planter today, but I managed to get these ones that are all straight, so that's good. These the widths of these wood are slightly different to this one, so let's have a look at this one here. This wood was a bit wider, so I've magically appeared with my tool belt on now. This actual planter was, I think it's like 45 centimetres wide, the lengths, and it is 29 centimetres deep. No reason other than the fact that it was 2 pieces of pallet wood high. Looked about the right size to me, so I thought that would do. So with this one here, These are 9 centimetres, I do believe. Yeah, these are 9, so I'm going to use 3 of these high. 1, 2, 3. That'll make a decent size one, I think. So, what are we going to do? First of all, let's look at the wood itself. Now, I've managed to take all of these nails out, like I said, without splitting the wood, but I don't really want, if possible, to have holes, you know, in the wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure a, what is it, 45 centimetres between the inside of that nail and the inside of the nail there, and I should be able to get 2 pieces out of this. So these being 9 high, I'm going to need 3 up times 4 sides, so I'm going to need 12 bits of 45 centimetre wood. So I'll do that now and I'll come right back to you. Okay, so that's me made my 12 lengths of wood. Slight correction to make. Because we want our box to be square, I've got 6 lengths at the 45 centimetres that I said, and 6 at 47 centimetres, because obviously the short length is going to be inside the long length, and if we have them at 47 and 45, then that will make a square. So next we want to put the lengths together, the sides together. So let's do that, shall we? So we've got 1, 2, 3. So with 3 high, we want to make some. What I've got here, you can use. So what you could have done is use the actual pallet bits that the pallet slats sat on, and cut them down the middle to make some that size. But what I've got is some old 2x2 bits of wood here. I've got some ropey old bits that I'm going to use instead. Might as well use up what I've got, because I want to save these beauties for something else. So we want it to go about 3/4 of the way up, because I don't want to go all the way up with it, because I don't want to see this bit when all the earth is in there. So just going to measure that about that high. So then I'm going to cut 4 at that height, which is just about 9 inches, or 23 centimetres. Right, I'll get on with that and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's my 4 corners. Let's put it together, shall we? So what we want to do is make the shorter sides first. And what I mean by that is get our corners and then line the piece of wood up. So each corner is lined up flush with the outside of this piece of wood. Now you can use screws or nails, whatever you want. I'm using some nails here, nice and cheap. You can also use glue. I'm not going to bother because I've left it in the house and I can't be bothered to go back in. But this will do anyway. Make sure that's nice and flush. Couple of nails in each side. So, little disclaimer, I'm obviously no Mr. Carpenter. I'm slightly handy, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to make this greenhouse. But I'm not trained or anything. But I seem to get on alright. Right, so this last one is only because I've made this shorter. I'll only have one nail in it, but we'll sort that out, that problem out, in a little bit. There we go, that's one basic side done. Nice and flush down there, nice and flush down there. Doesn't matter if you're a little bit out here and there. We'll sort that out with these corners later on. But there you go, there's the first bit. So I'll make the next short side next. So I've just used the camera change break to make myself a nice cup of tea. It's quite chilly out here. It's still, I think it's about 0 in here, -2 outside. Excuse me. Right, there we go. So that's the other side done. So we've got 2 short sides now. Hopefully they'll be just about the same size. They are, jolly good. Now to put the long sides on. So this is the slightly tricky bit. So again, we want the long sides to butt up to the edges there. So all I'm going to do here, let's put that back on. No, I know what. Aha! Right, where was I? Right, so again, line up each end. Looks about straight. Nails again. One. As I said, none of this is actually particularly difficult skill wise, otherwise I wouldn't be able to do it. So where obviously we've got this, doesn't come all the way up, so I can't put this second nail in. What I'm going to do is put this second nail in at the edge into this piece of wood here, into that bit of wood there. Gives it that little bit extra rigidity. There we go, that's that side. Right, concentration. So, there's our 3 sides. The 4th side should be relatively easy, and there are imperfections here and there, but hopefully we should be able to cover them up with our, excuse me, corners and our top. But we shall see. Let's get this last bit in. Start from the bottom. Nice. Okay, so that is our basic box. Nice and sturdy. But it's not that nice looking, is it? So now we've got to tidy it up a bit, make it look a bit prettier. And how are we going to do that? Well, what we're going to do is, as you can see with this one here, we've got the nice little corners, and they just hide your imperfections on the sides and make that nice, a bit tidier. So what we'll do is I shall get I'm going to use a couple of the more straighter edges on this one here, but I don't want it as wide as this. I only want it halfway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this to length, and then I'll split it down the centre, and then each one of these can make a bit either side of the corner. My explanations aren't always the best, you'll soon see.